That's astonishing. It's absolutely world class. Drama from day one. This is the league we want to watch. Only football can make you feel like this.
I think it's all over. It is now.
So I'll get it started. So let's talk about Champions League. Man, we had a lot of good games today. What was you guys' favorite game?
I have to say Man City, Real Madrid, just because it's two of the biggest clubs in the world. I had that feeling that Man City were just going to bring it to him, and Hazard looked really dangerous. Benzema looked really dangerous. But it all came down to those two Raphael Varane mistakes.
Oh, my goodness. I still can't believe it.
I mean, he came out, like, fair play to him. He didn't try and hide away from it. He came out after the game saying, you know, that was my loss today. It wasn't a team loss. I mean, because Man City didn't dominate like I thought they would. But, I mean, aggregate scoreline 4-2 against Real Madrid. It's pretty impressive. So I thought that was a really good game. I was really impressed with Kevin De Bruyne. But we spoke a little bit about their attack and their attack's potency. They could have had 6 or 7 goals. If
finishing was horrible.
Yeah. Kevin De Bruyne put 3 or 4 balls on a plate, and the attack missed it. Gabriel Jesus is not a Sergio Aguero replacement. He hasn't got anywhere near the finishing. What are your guys' thoughts?
So I seriously think, Sergio Aguero, I forget how old he is, but he's getting a little bit older, so he doesn't have that much time left. I think Pep is probably going to give Gabriel Jesus maybe one more year. And if he still is not just top-level striker, he's going to go for somebody else. Because, obviously this isn't all him, but Man City had 20 shots, only 7 on target. Now, that also talks to Real Madrid's defense, which, it's not easy to have 20. I feel like it shouldn't be easy to have 20 shots and 7 on target. Only 7 on target, so that speaks to some of the defense. But also just why do you need so many shots to have just 7 on target? Look, Real Madrid had 9 and 4 of them were on target. So with less than half the shots, you almost had this many on target. So that speaks to just attacking. I think Man City defended way better than they attacked. Their 2 goals were gifts. Granted, the gifts that they were given were based off of good football. Pressure the defender and make him make mistakes. That's how, that's good football. There's nothing wrong with that. But it wasn't, none of their goals were from anything that they created from midfield or good play from them. It was just from pressure. Then defenders making mistakes. So
I gotta disagree with you guys. I think Jesus was, first off, he wasn't played as a striker that played a false 9 formation where Phil Foden filled in that striker role. But I think Gabriel Jesus has a lot of potential. I don't think he's a Aguero replacement by any means. I think Aguero is one of the most clinical finishers I have ever seen, along with Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He's 32 years old, so he is getting up there in age, but they are completely different strikers. And I think Gabriel Jesus will fit very well once the whole attack comes around him. My issue is with Sterling.
Oh, yes.
Because that dude, we're talking about winning the ball out of his feet and dribbling, and he's 10 yards away from a goal and he's cutting it inside and dribbling. Just shoot the ball, man. No wonder they're not scoring a lot. And I feel bad for De Bruyne because he should have so many more assists, but he doesn't because they don't have that prolific scoring. And I think that goes across the board, and Gabriel Jesus is at fault for some of that. But I do think they're very different strikers, and I do think he is more of a pressing and taking the ball away and then he's actually more of a Firmino kind of striker. He's like a hybrid between Firmino and Aguero, where he's just in between. So, I don't know. I thought he did really well. I thought Phil Foden was, as I thought for a long time, overrated. Everybody was talking about Phil Foden he's the next great thing that comes out of England, and I just wasn't impressed with him. I know it was a daunting task, and Madrid midfield is one of the best midfields in the world, but I just thought he did okay. And to Gabriel Jesus' credit, he did pressure Varane and made him. He was basically responsible for both of the goals that they scored.
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah. That's what I was saying. You got to give him.
He's a good
You got to
player.
give credit where credit's due. Both goals were from Jesus, like hounding Varane down. So if he didn't hound him down, he doesn't make those mistakes and cost the goals. But
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think I like Phil Foden, but I tend to agree with Brato. I think that he's obviously a great player, but he's got so much pressure on him. He really showed that in the Madrid game. A Man City player I wanted just to call out, as I thought they did really well, was Kyle Walker. I thought he had a great game at right back. I thought Hazard couldn't really do much. He had to cut inside and go against the back two of Man City because he was having no luck against Walker on that right-hand side. But credit to Hazard's... I still think he's one of the best players in the world just for his masterclass of if there's a problem in front of him, he won't keep attacking it. He'll figure out a way to get past it. And that's exactly what he did with Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker was playing really well against him. And you could see Hazard like, okay, this dude I can't get past him. Let me go against these other two, like, very overrated centre-backs, in my opinion. But he devastated him.
Well, the other good thing is it was almost never Hazard versus Kyle Walker. It was always Hazard versus Kyle Walker and whoever else was coming from a midfield to help him. And I thought that was just brilliant by Pep. I felt like Madrid forwards were so isolated compared to everyone else. And I know that that's the goal that you strive, but with the quality that Madrid has in the midfield, I definitely didn't think it was going to be that easy for City to beat them. And I honestly didn't think they struggled. I think that it was 2-1, but it could have even 4 or 5-1, in my opinion.
yeah, it was kind of weird because Madrid kept on going wide, but they never tried to go through the middle. So it's like if you continue to go wide, then the defenders can actually you're making it easier for your defenders if you don't try a different avenue because they just know, oh, you're going to play a long ball out to Benzema on the wide or out to Hazard on the wild. I mean, Rodrigo gave, what's his name? Cancelo. Was it Cancelo out there? I forget who was out there.
Cancelo was on the left.
Yeah, so
Cancelo, yeah.
Rodrigo kind of had his number, but there was one free kick that he should have had when he just absolutely shoulder checked him or whatever. But Rodrigo gave him a little bit of trouble. But after that, was like nothing. But all they kept on doing was going wide and going wide and going wide. And like you said, Brato, they were just isolated. There was nothing really through the middle for Madrid. So Man City could honestly just relax and, okay, you're going to go out wide. Okay, all right, go out wide. We'll just have two people, 2-on-1, and yeah, what are you going to do, basically?
I remember a couple of weeks ago when we spoke about our top 5 players in the world, and I give you guys a hard time for putting Benzema in your top 5. I want to take that back because I think he really showed his class. I think he was a step above the Madrid team, him and Hazard.
Oh, yeah.
His hold-up play is top-notch. He can run. I don't know why I've never seen that side of him. He plays the ugly side of the game really well, and I think that's why I may have looked past him. But I want to take that back and just say I think that dude is sensational.
I think the problem with Benzema is that he's been in Ronaldo's shadow a bit. So, I mean, Ronaldo's been on that team for so long, you don't really see what Benzema does. And then you also go back to just his problem with the French national team. He's been in Ronaldo's shadow. And then he's been more like, he's been doing what Firmino's doing since forever. Just hold up play, distribute the ball. But he scores more than Firmino. That's one thing I'll say. But so a lot of people don't really realize that now that Ronaldo's not there and Benzema's starting to score a lot of the goals, they're like, oh, yeah.
And he is a private guy, and I think that kind of works against footballers in general. Like, Benzema is a private guy, regardless of whenever people talk bad about him. He just keeps to himself. He doesn't really do much to defend himself or actually to even push himself, to be seen in a better light. He just kind of does his own thing, and it's very admirable. A lot of soccer players don't do that. But I am glad that he is getting what he deserves, and that's recognition. And he's been carrying that Madrid team on his back, I think, this whole season. So, hats off to him.
Yeah. But what about that Barcelona Napoli game though?
Just Lionel Messi, mate.
Oh man, that was ridiculous. Napoli just looked lost. Honestly, I don't know. They just looked Like they didn't know what to do.
I think Lionel Messi had one of those first halves of football where he just came out.
What can you do?
Like a different beast. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I heard a good conversation between some football commentators about the Cristiano Ronaldo versus Lionel Messi, and they said it brilliantly. They said the thing that Messi has is he doesn't need any space.
Yeah.
Ronaldo needs space and he needs to run. Messi doesn't need space, and the goal he scored, like he beat 5 guys and they were all hacking him.
And he's falling over.
Yeah,
He's
every
falling
single
over.
one.
Still scores.
Yeah.
Still scores.
It's just, and you know, he's just ridiculous. I think, in my opinion, he's the best footballer that's ever lived. I don't think anyone can come that close to him. Maybe Maradona, maybe Pele. I just think he's class, and I think Napoli just didn't have an answer for him. That being said, Napoli did. I saw the second half, and Napoli had a good second half. They have some really good players. I just didn't. Just Messi showed up, and no one can handle Messi when he shows up.
Yeah, it's like, what can you do with that? I mean, he's just like weaving through all your defenders and like, oh, I can't. It's like, oh, do I hack him or do I not? Like, because if you hack him at the box, you know he's going to score from a free kick. But if you let him go, you know he's just going to dink it to Suarez or Griezmann or Jordi Alba, all like running to support, or he'll just finish it just with a ridiculous shot. So it's pick your poison.
That's the thing, guys. Like, he did, like the Napoli defenders did it by the book. If he's running past you and they can't tackle him, try and foul him. Every single one of them tried fouling him, and he still scored. Like, come on. Like, you can't even...
At this point, though, we can't even be surprised by him. He's so good. What's surprising is that he's still doing it at that level, you know, being at 32 years old, 33, I think he is. That's the more surprising part, is that he can still make people look so, I don't even want to say unprofessional. Like, he just makes them look like he's playing with kids. And that's the beauty of Messi. I agree that I think he's probably the best player we've ever have seen, and probably the talent that we won't see for another 50 to 100 years.
Man, yeah, we've honestly gotten really spoiled having Messi. Also with having Ronaldo too. Just having both of them around at the same time has been just, we've been straight up spoiled, honestly.
I mean, I hate to bring it up, but the Bayern Munich Chelsea game.
You hate to bring it up, Tom, really?
Well,
I love to bring
it up.
I mean,
as a Spurs fan,
I mean, Munich did what we knew they'd do. We knew they'd come and completely outshine Chelsea. Granted, Chelsea had some really good play. I thought they did well at times. I just think when Bayern switched it on, there was no answer. And
Bayern looked so comfortable on the ball. I mean, their back line was at halfway, and their fullbacks were all the way in the attacking third, while Boateng and I forget his part, Alaba were in the back just hanging out. It's, well, yeah, we know you're not going to do anything. It was just.
I thought Mason Mount started poorly. I thought Barkley was fucking dreadful.
Trash.
Like
trash.
I mean, I've always tried sticking up for him a little bit and saying, well, you know, he does make some good runs, but he's the most selfish player that's not good that I've ever seen. Do you know what I mean? Like, he had multiple chances to lay it off to the wide players to get a good ball in the box, and he just tries running. And he tries running against David Alaba, who is stronger, faster, better than him.
Mm.
And if he cuts the other side, he's got Jerome Boateng, who will just knock him off the ball.
Yeah.
And if he gets past them two, Alphonso Davies will come road runner, speed in past him and steal the ball off him. They didn't have the answer. They were missing Pulisic. I think the Chelsea of next season would put a better game than the Chelsea this season. And I know they got really unlucky through injury, but Bayern just outshone them in every department.
Yeah, and I'm also curious to see how Bayern's going to play against Barcelona, because with such a high line, I don't know if you can play a high line against Barcelona just because of the way they possess the ball. And they just walk the ball into your half. So I'm just really curious to see how Bayern, like, if they adopt the same tactic, because, I mean, but Chelsea, even the commentators are saying, like, if they're playing such a high line, then just play the ball over and challenge him. Granted, you can't really challenge Davis. Maybe you can challenge Kimmich. He's pretty fast too, but Abraham, they're all really fast. But you should be at least like say, hey, you know what? Stop disrespecting us with such a high line. That's I honestly see that's the ultimate disrespect for someone to have such a high line, because they know, oh yeah, what are you gonna do? Nothing. That's pretty much what they're saying. You're not gonna get past this line.
And I know Brato has a thing or two to say about him, but if you're gonna play the long balls, let's have a striker that stays on side, yeah? Tammy Abraham, stay on side, man. You had one job. And the defense was playing at the halfway line.
Yeah.
Your striker, man, like, sort it out.
Yeah.
You won't have a place next season, that's for sure. So he'd have to go down.
I thought that Bayern game was going to be. I thought it was closer than the score indicated. I think the 2 goals that they scored were individual mistakes. I think it was just laziness, which has been Chelsea's problem. I think for a lot of the part of the season is just the lack of focus that happens within a game time. I thought that Mason Mount did poorly. I think that I agree with Barkley was absolute trash. I don't know why that man still plays for a top team like Chelsea. The saddest part is just like looking how far Chelsea have fallen since, 2006, 2007 when we beat Bayern 4-1. It sucks because I was thinking about this. With Willian gone, we basically only have Conte. We have one world talent where everyone else is in development stage. So I don't think that bodes too well for Chelsea for the next couple of years. I think the youth is going to be youth and they're going to be good, but it's going to be a lot of lapse of concentration what happened with Bayern game. So I think next season is going to be heartbreaking as well in Champions League for us.
See, but I think if you do have a creative midfielder in there that knows what they're doing, you would have done way better against Munich, because I seriously don't know who your creative midfielder was supposed to be in that game. Because if you had somebody who can play a pass, all you need is 2 wingers or just one winger who's making back shoulder runs, back post runs. And they keep on challenging that line. Just have somebody play. Don't even play a long ball. Just give it, like, possessing your half if you have to, and give it to somebody who can play the ball through and have them run through. And then you have 2 people running through. You keep on challenging that back line. Then Bayern has to keep on backing off until you can possess the ball in their half. Then you're closer. Because I mean, you possess the ball in their half. When Odoi had that disallowed goal, you had some spells where you were in their half, but if they're continuously just camped in your half, then you can't do much because you don't really have someone to just release your speed on the wings.
You hit a nail on the head, and I think I've been saying this whole season we're missing that creative midfielder piece, someone that's going to be able to penetrate the opponent's defense, and we really don't have that. Conte in the middle is fantastic. I think Conte is the best at his position. He's the best when it comes to intercepting the balls, but he is not the kind of midfielder that's going to be able to get the ball and pass it to your wingers and hit them on a counterattack and get it behind the defense. Kovacic is the same way. He is fantastic on the ball. I think he's one of the hardest people to get the ball off of, even though they did and managed to score the second goal. But at the same time, throughout the Premier League season, he has been one of the hardest people to dispossess. But we have no one that's able to be that creative midfielder role where they're able to distribute the ball to our offense and connect our midfield with our offense. And I think that's one of the worst things about Chelsea is, and I really hope we sign Kai Havertz, even though he's been playing on the right wing role for Leverkusen the last couple games. I think we need someone that's going to be able to pass and move in the midfield in order to free up that space. And as of now, no one does it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Havertz brings. And, since they got knocked out of the Europa League today, I think it's only a matter of time before we hear that Havertz announcement. And good, because it's what Chelsea need. And the scary thing is, next season's Bayern Munich are going to have Sane on the left-hand side as well.
Oh, my goodness.
Like that, I thought that was their kind of weaker position against Chelsea, the left wing role, because Kingsley Coman, I don't know if he was injured or suspended, but he'd usually fill that role. And Sane is a better player than Kingsley Coman. So,
oh, yeah. I mean, they're going to have, Gnabry and him and
feeding
Sane.
Lewandowski.
Yeah. And so think about Sane is one of the fastest people out there, and you have Davis behind him. Man, that left-hand side is going to be – I'd hate to be a defender on that side. I would hate to be a defender on that side.
You can't defend that. They'll just kick it past you and run.
Yeah.
Man. But another result that I know we're all super happy with is that Juventus are out.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. So I really haven't seen anything about this. Those two penalties in that game. What was up with that?
Oh, nonsense, mate.
Awful.
Nonsense.
What in the world? So the first one was like, okay, hold on. Why? And the second one, it was, I would say, like the most blatant makeup call I've ever seen in my life. That ref just looked so I don't know, like kind of lost. He gave out yellow cards way too early. I mean, granted, if something's a yellow card offense, it's a yellow card offense. But just some of the cards he gave was like, why are you giving a yellow card for that? You're just setting yourself up for not giving a yellow card later because you don't want to have someone leave the field. And then when you should be given a yellow card, you're not going to because you're thinking, oh, wait, he's on a yellow card already because he gave the yellow card too early. It was just such a weird game. But honestly, I was not impressed by Juventus at all. So that game, they had 40 crosses. 40 crosses. And it's just like, I mean, I don't even know what their game plan was. They had that one moment of brilliance from Bernardeschi. And then, I forget the defender's name, came in out of nowhere and just dispossessed him. But it was all just like Cuadrado having an early cross in from way outside the box. And then like, oh, what are we going to do? Lyon's going to just clear the ball because they're sitting back because they're, that's, you know, they looked so just like they didn't know what they were doing, honestly.
Yeah, I just love the fact that Juventus lost because I'm sad because I love Buffon and I want Buffon. What? I like Buffon a lot. I think he's a gentleman of the game. And I'd like to see him win the Champions League, not with Juventus though. But that's the one title he needs to win. But I'm really happy that Lyon won. I love that they're through. I think they have I think it's probably the last time we'll see them in the Champions League because now they play Man City.
Yeah.
Man City are going to destroy them.
Yeah, they really.
Well, I was going to say, I think Juventus is. I mean, they're playing the Italian league, which is not nearly as strong. I think it's the weakest league out of the big leagues. And the fact that Gonzalo Higuain is, their striker, while he was a world class, let's be honest, he's 34?
Oh, man.
He's not.
He's like 20 pounds heavier than his prime.
He did okay at Chelsea, but Oliver Giroud is a better striker than him at this point.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just that I think it's just, they're playing with the team that's relying heavily on Ronaldo, and Paulo Dybala was injured, and you can't beat many teams like that, especially when it's especially when it's one game. And I do think Lyon got very lucky. I do think that was one of the worst penalty calls I have ever seen. I don't know. Every week we talk about VAR and refereeing, and I honestly don't know, how do you justify something like that? Some people need to be questioned after both of those calls. And I'm pretty sure they gave it – I'm positive they gave the Juventus a penalty kick just to even out that bad call from earlier that happened.
It wouldn't surprise me, mate.
Yeah, that was horrible. There's no – I don't see how you could argue for especially the first one, how you could just argue that was a penalty in any way, shape, or form. It's like he got the ball. Yeah, the guy tripped over him, but it's not like he
It was awful, mate.
Yeah, it was horrible.
I mean, but we can all agree we're happy Juventus is out because I love seeing an underdog in Champions League.
Me too, mate.
And because of that, Sarri's out now. I mean, seriously, what his timeline, trajectory, or whatever. I feel like people talked really well of him when I was at Napoli, saying, oh, he has this game plan, like this style of play that's really awesome to see, blah, blah, blah. And then he comes to Chelsea and just like, wait, what?
He did great at Chelsea.
You said what?
He did great at Chelsea.
Signed Kepa.
He won us. He didn't. I don't think that was him. But he won us the Europa League. We finished. Yeah, I think. Yeah, we qualify for Champions League next year. I thought that we played really well overall. I do think that there was some. I mean, Chelsea is not a strong team. We don't have as talent. We had Hazard, Willian, and Conte. You know, that's probably more than most teams in England do, but it's not enough to push us in a championship contender. So I thought he did great at Chelsea. I thought he's a good coach in my opinion. I just think he's hard to work with. I think that's his problem is the hierarchy it's just too hard to work with.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. I mean, just especially if you're at Chelsea. Chelsea is a club that's run by the locker room. And if you're already difficult to work with, you're not gonna last there because that locker room has given so much power ever since like John Terry days. So that's not gonna go over well. But looking forward though, we got some nice games coming. We got Atalanta, PSG, RB Leipzig, Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern, then Man City, Lyon. What's you guys' predictions?
I think Paris will beat Atalanta, but I don't think it'll be a comfortable game. I think Atalanta are definitely underrated and the underdogs. So I think, Paris's ego might come into play. I don't know if Mbappe is still injured or not. I think
he's been at training, but they haven't announced if he's going to play yet, I don't think.
So I think my predictions is going to be 2-1 PSG for that game. I think Atletico Madrid will beat Leipzig because they've lost Timo Werner. So I think Atletico Madrid, I think it'll be a close game. I think 1-0.
Remember, Atletico Madrid has already had 2 positive cases of COVID, and UEFA has said that the only people that they're going to continue on with the tie, but the only people that will play are those people that are tested negative. So Atletico Madrid could be depleted for that game. So that's going to be a hard.
That's a question mark.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that as a question mark then.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's a full Atletico squad with no big players missing, I think they win. But I think it'll be a tight game. I think it'll be 1-0. I think Bayern Munich are going to beat Barcelona. I think that'll be one of the best games of the Champions League this season. I just have that feeling that Messi's going to show up, but I think the whole Bayern squad will show up as well. And it's going to be Lionel Messi versus Alphonso Davies, and I can't wait to see that battle.
Oh, man.
Big fan of them both.
That's going to be amazing.
For a scoreline, though, I don't know. I think both teams will get a goal. I'm going to go for a draw, actually. 2-2. And then Bayern to get it when they go to Munich. And I think Man City are going to beat Lyon.
Isn't it all one leg, though?
Is it?
Yeah, it's all one leg.
Yeah, it's all one leg.
It's all one leg.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They're all in Portugal.
Yeah.
They're all in Lisbon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're all
okay.
in Lisbon, too.
Oh, so I'll go for a Bayern Munich win.
Oh, boy.
I'll go for a 3-2 Bayern Munich win. Wow. I think they'll get 3 goals in the first half, and then Barcelona will come back and scare them. And then I think Man City will trounce Lyon 4-0. I don't want them to. I'd love to see Lyon win, but the class of Man City, they're the only team in the world that really scare me. So
I think Atalanta beats PSG. Atalanta has the most goals scored in Serie A this year, even though some of them did not win. I mean, granted, they've lost Olic because he has some stuff going on. Not sure what that is, but they have seriously like the highest scoring. Like they score the most goals in Serie A. So and then PSG is looking kind of iffy with possible injuries and all that. So they all haven't been training together. So I think Atalanta beats PSG 2-1. Leipzig, Atletico Madrid. Yeah, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one. It really is.
But I still think Atletico Madrid wins, but just like 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
And Bayern Barcelona. I think this is where Barcelona's lack of depth comes to hurt them. I think Munich wins. I mean, both teams are definitely going to score, but I would say 3-1 Bayern. And then Man City Lyon. I want Lyon to win so bad. I want to say the score is going to be 1-0 Lyon.
It won't be.
I know it won't be, but I just want to go with it.
I agree with you, man.
Because Lyon really didn't get tested defensively against Juve, so I can't really say, oh, they are a great defensive team based off of that. But you know what? I think if Lyon can nick an early goal, they win this. So I'm still going to go with it. 1-0 Lyon.
Are you, Brato?
Wow. So I'm more. First off, I think that PSG is going to trash with or without Mbappe. I think it'll be a comfortable win for him. They just have too much talent while they're playing a French league and they're leaps above everyone else. I do think with talent that they have, it'll be hard to lose against even someone that's a prolific scoring team like Atlanta. I think Atletico Madrid is going to be RB Leipzig. I think the two positive cases, people that tested positive for Corona is Correa, which is a loss for him. But I think they're such a good, strong defensive unit that it'll be impossible for RB Leipzig to break them down. I'm going to disagree with you guys and say Barcelona is going to beat Bayern.
Yeah, let's go.
I think Bayern, who is so good at keeping possession, I don't know how often they're going to be able to utilize that speed. And I think Messi is just going to, I see him scoring a free kick. I predict it's going to be probably, I want to say 2-1, but I do think it's going to be more along the lines of 3-2 Barcelona. And obviously, Man City is going to trash Lyon. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be 3-0. But once again, it's not because City is unable to score. It's just because they're not taking their chances and finishing like they should. I think they're so good. Kevin De Bruyne is the best midfielder in the world. I know Tom called it a month ago. I had my reservations, so I didn't want to go that far to say that he is the best midfielder in the world because I still think Toni Kroos is amazing, and I thought that Luka Modric is still, has something to give. But after watching that trashing, I will admit, there's no one that compares to Kevin De Bruyne in that center mid role.
Yeah,
and it's sad to see the greats like Luka Modric and Toni Kroos not even be at that level anymore, but they're getting older. I think Toni Kroos is still 29, so he still has a lot to give, and I thought he was Madrid's best player next to Benzema. But it's a sad day for soccer world. All our favorite players are getting old.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.